Hello, and welcome to episode 29 of Let's Talk Immigration. Um, I want to go over today the Dignity Act that's been proposed in Congress, a couple updates on our group lawsuits, and then jump right into question and answers. And so if you have questions, go to YouTube or Facebook or Telegram to ask those questions. Okay. Let me see here. I'll start with the Dignity Act of 2023. So Law 360 article about it that's really good. I can't show it all to you because it's behind a paywall, but I can show you a screenshot of I think I can, well, I just did. So two members of Congress have proposed this immigration reform. One is a Democrat, Veronica Escobar of Texas, and one is a Republican, Maria Salazar of Florida. I think it might have a chance because it is what is called bipartisan. That means both the Democrat and the Republicans are interested in making it pass. For that to happen, what's part of this bill is things that both parties want. So it's not the ideal solution. It's not, I would want to take down that wall. And this proposal involves more money for the wall. But there are some really good takeaways from this bill. One of the things I really like is that it makes the people that are waiting in the family preference category, you're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for the visa bulletin to become current, 10 years, then it's current. If it takes longer than 10 years, you're still waiting for an interview at the embassy, and embassies are busy. I get that. But the visa bulletin would not be a barrier for anyone who has waited 10 years. That would be huge. It would really change things for a lot of families, a lot of American immigrant families. So I'm optimistic, cautiously optimistic, because immigration reform does not happen in the United States very often. Like every 20 or 30 years, that's the best we can hope for. But I actually put input into this. I emailed Representative Salazar's office, and they responded, and I was telling them how important it was that the family preference immigrant visas are not forgotten and that those paths are kept alive. I don't think they adopted I haven't seen the text of the bill, but I don't think they've adopted everything that I proposed, but I can tell that they care about that issue. So that's good. Okay, let's move on to group lawsuits. I know today if you're watching this later, many people are joining who were members of the Gomez class, our plaintiffs in DV 2020, Diversity Visa 2020 program, are good luck plaintiffs, are rate eligible plaintiffs, are rate DV 2021 selectees who could benefit from the Ray order or the good luck order. You all have the same question. When will we know from the appeal? When will the 3-judge panel issue the opinion in the appeal? We don't know that, and we're still waiting. There's no way to know when that will be. We just have to be patient. Okay. Skipping ahead, asylum seekers versus Johnson. That is the case that we were filing against ICE for disclosing the identity and other personal information, 21 columns of personal information about 6,200 asylum seekers. They published it on their website, November 28th, 2022. That lawsuit is waiting for the judge's order on the government's motion to dismiss. So that's the point where it's at. I have recently, over the last few weeks, made 2 filings, maybe 3, to update the judge on some developments in the case. Let me see here. I say developments in the case. Developments in, we have received more information about the data breach that the government has been very secretive about and not sharing with all the respondents, all the people in removal proceedings. Sort of unconstitutional, but it's the way ICE rolls, right? So, okay, so we have a couple other lawsuits that are family-based lawsuits. We've got Sonny Santos Wilson in the Eastern District of New York, waiting for Judge Kogan's order on our pending motion to amend our complaint. And we've got a case called Naveed in the District Court of Columbia, waiting on an order on the government's motion to dismiss. All four of those cases challenge Secretary Blinken's authority that he usurped to determine which visa categories were his favorite, and also to prioritize non-immigrant visas over immigrant visas, because the root of the immigrant visa backlog, it's about priorities. I mean, if the United States government wanted everybody to have a visa, everybody would have a visa. But the United States government does not want everybody to have a visa. Why is that? Well, it's because decisions have been made by Secretary Blinken and the visa office that tourists to Disneyland and students at U.S. colleges are more important than reuniting families. That is very frustrating for me. But I filed 4 lawsuits on it. Might file another one soon. We'll see. That covers all of our group lawsuits. So I'm just going to jump into questions. I want to go over one more thing. If you are in AP, administrative processing, after an interview and you've given everything you're supposed to give, you really need to contact me about a mandamus lawsuit, because they are extremely effective. And absent the mandamus lawsuit, you could wait 60 days, you could wait 90 days, or you could wait 3 years. I have people contact me who have been in AP every week, who have been in AP for years. So this idea that's like, oh, well, maybe I should just wait around and see if the AP clears itself. It could, or it might not. If you want to come to the United States and get the journey over with, we only charge $4,000 for a mandamus lawsuit for a plaintiff in AP. So that's what you probably should do if it's in your budget, because waiting until later means you're waiting for the next debt crisis where they close the U.S. government. Not going to be good for immigration. Waiting for the next outbreak of a pandemic like COVID, where they suspend immigration all over again. Waiting for the next border closures related to a pandemic or a war or a political situation. Waiting for a President Trump or DeSantis to get elected and put the Muslim ban back in effect. Muslim ban is called Proclamation 9645 by President Trump. That was not ruled unconstitutional. Hawaii versus Trump, it was upheld by the Supreme Court as constitutional. So the first day that DeSantis or Trump or any monster like them becomes president, they would put that back into effect. Okay. So we have a narrow window right now where things are relatively possible to make things happen in the immigration space, but you have to fight for it. And the way you fight for it in most contexts is a mandamus lawsuit. And that's what we do. So I don't charge for consults. You can reach me on Telegram, WhatsApp, Twitter, email. Phone is very difficult because my phone just rings nonstop. And when I want to call, I can't take other calls, right? If you do call me, don't leave a voicemail. I don't even have time to check those. Text? Okay. I love text. Okay. So thank you for letting me talk about AP mandamus lawsuits. We do mandamus lawsuits for other situations. If you're in the U.S. and you're waiting for a decision on your asylum application for a few years, we'll do a mandamus for that and sue USCIS. Or if you're waiting for a decision from NBC, we can do that. Or if you're waiting on a decision on an I-130, we can do that. So we don't do mandamus lawsuits just for people in AP, but the ones in AP are a little bit more affordable because they're predictable how things will happen. Basically, you hire us for one of those, and within 90 days, you're going to get a final decision on that visa application. And that's the goal, right? Okay. Let me jump into questions now. I think this question was left earlier today. Is there any sign of opinions for DV 2021? No. This is not in English, and I don't know what it says. I wish I did. Okay. From YouTube. Hi, I'm a DV 2022 winner. I submitted all the documents to KVC, he means KCC, and received an email from them that my case is ready for interview. However, I never get the interview. Can I file a case? No. If you were a diversity visa selectee for the 2022 fiscal year, meaning your case number starts with 2022, your DV journey is over. It ended at the end of the day on September 30th, 2022. For your visa journey is over for two reasons. One, that fiscal year is over, but two, they used all of those visas allotted by Congress. They had 54,850 visas allotted by Congress, and I think they issued like 56,000 or something. They actually issued more than they were supposed to. I don't know how that happens. I don't know. It's like, I guess if the government can print as much money as they need, they can print as much visas as they need if they want to, I guess. I don't know. So your journey's over. I'm sorry. Good luck in the future. Question from Telegram. Can an LPR apply for a family reunion with parents? No. You have to be a U.S. citizen to petition for your parents. I have seen people new immigrants to the U.S. decide to expedite their naturalization as a U.S. citizen by military service. If you serve 1 year in the U.S. military, you can naturalize and thus petition for your parents. So that's something to consider. Cote d'Ivoire, Oatro. Hi, Mr. Morrison. Hello. Ephraim. Hi, Curtis. I need your WhatsApp contact. Oh, well. Let me show you where to find it. Let's see if I can do this. We have a website. Morrison Urena has a website, if you did not know this. And that website is called morrisonurena.com. If you go to morrisonurena.com, you go over here to contact us. There's our number in San Diego, our number in New York, our mailing address, our general email. And then here's how to message me on Telegram and WhatsApp. I'm going to drop the link address right here and make right Curtis. Yeah. And then since somebody's watching, probably wanting to get me in Telegram, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm Curtis at Law on Telegram. Curtis on Telegram. Here we go. That was fun. Next question. Question from Telegram. When filling up a DS-260 for a family member, what document should petitioner submit instead of a tax return? Proof of income if the petitioner didn't find any taxes was out of the U.S. Well, I might have bad news for you. Just because a petitioner was outside of the U.S. Does not relieve them of filing U.S. tax returns, okay? If you're a lawful permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, you must obey the tax codes. You need to talk to your accountant about that. I'm a lawyer. I'm not an accountant. But just being outside the U.S., like I went to Mexico for vacation, so I don't pay taxes. No, that doesn't work. If you're a lawful permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, you need to pay taxes. So if the petitioner did not submit taxes, then you're going to need what's called a co-sponsor. And they will need to do an affidavit of support as well. And they will need to have sufficient income to support not only their own family, but also the primary visa applicant and beneficiaries. So question is a little bit more complicated than just more documents. You don't need more documents. If you didn't file a tax return, you don't have income. Don't be saying you have income and you didn't tell the U.S. If you didn't tell the U.S. government you have income, you didn't have income. Or if you did, I don't know. There's a problem there. You know, you're trying to get the visa from the U.S. government. Lagar, it means hello. Oh, hi. Hi, Lagar. I wish I could pronounce it. Okay, from Telegram. If I applied for asylum in the U.S. and I'm also a good luck plaintiff, will I benefit from the reserved visas if the appeals court will finally share its opinion? It is very unlikely that you will benefit from reserved visas because you don't need a visa. That's the first reason. You're already in the United States. But the second reason is we've asked the government attorneys, and it turns out that the State Department and the Department of Homeland Security have not yet decided whether or not reserved visas will be able to be redeemed separately instead as with adjustment of status inside the U.S. Face another obstacle in that adjustment of status is not always possible. You have to have status to do adjustment of status. And some people that applied for asylum arguably do not have status because they didn't, just seeking asylum. The USCIS officer may or may not consider that status. One of the factors is whether or not you filed the asylum within 1 year of entry, because if you didn't, that's a delay that you caused. If you entered the U.S. and you filed asylum within the first year, you could argue that you didn't cause that delay, but it's still not a sure thing. We've had a couple immigration judges in California USCIS officers in California that say, oh, that's okay. It's not your fault that there was a delay in you not having lawful status. But then I've seen USCIS officers in other locations say, oh, that was a problem. So basically, if you're a good luck plaintiff and you came to the U.S. to seek asylum, you have decided on a different path, and it's unlikely that the good luck path is going to work out for you. The stars could align and there could be something different, but I don't think it's going to happen. Even if it did, it's going to be expensive for you to find out, because adjustment of status is more expensive than a visa interview. Like the primary applicant has to pay a $1,300 fee, and then the derivatives, the fees less. But and you still have to pay KCC $330. So it's expensive to find out if this is going to work. Okay. I think I've answered all these questions. So any more questions, or you want me to just talk about trivia? Like when I was a kid, they told me that George Washington cut down a cherry tree and he wasn't supposed to cut down that cherry tree, and he got in trouble. And they tell us that story as kids in the U.S. to teach us not to lie or not to cut down cherry trees. I don't know. I don't remember why they told us that story. So I don't know. Maybe it's not a story that they should spend time telling kids. Fun fact about George Washington, though, he had he grew marijuana. You know, there's a lot of immigrants that are barred from entering the U.S. for use of drugs, and it's just sort of ironic that the first U.S. president grew marijuana. He had actually two spaces of land, one where he grew hemp and one where he grew marijuana. Like hemp was for rope and stuff like that, and then marijuana was for smoking and getting high. So it's kind of funny that the country, you know, our founding fathers did not have a problem with drugs like the current administrations. Let's see here. Oh. Do you have the judgment on the Naveed v. Blinken case? Hi, Sam. We do not have judgment on the Naveed versus Blinken case. Where that case stands right now is the government has filed a motion to dismiss, and we have to survive that motion to dismiss before we ever get to discovery or the summary judgment phase of the lawsuit. It's fully briefed, meaning the government has made their arguments. We've made ours. The government's made their reply. So we're waiting on the judge's order on that case. In the meantime, I think about 40% of those plaintiffs, there's only 10 couples in that case, and I think 4 of them, maybe 5. I know one just yesterday got an interview letter, so I can't remember if it's half or it's 40% have got visas already. Visas are interviews, but you know we're going to keep that case. We're going to keep fighting it until all the plaintiffs have visas, because that's the way we grow. Sam also asked, any positive news from Islamabad Embassy? I do not have any positive news about Islamabad Embassy. I do have some positive news about a different embassy. Okay, so Diversity Visa 2023 selectees, we're waiting for interviews from U.S. Embassy Khartoum when they closed Khartoum. And they were not automatically reassigned to other embassy locations. I have heard and seen emails from KCC over the last week that suggests that those cases have been reassigned to U.S. Embassy Cairo. I have emailed the civil chief for the U.S. attorney for the District Court of Columbia to see if he will confirm that with the State Department. And because otherwise that's not fair. You know, they can't close your embassy and then not let you change your interview location. We've seen them do it 2 years in a row with Afghans, Iraqis, to a lesser extent Russians. So it's not beyond what they will do. But I think this year, I think they fixed it. We're confirming that right now. Okay. Do we know the DQ dates for them? Yes, we do know the DQ dates for our clients. Question for Telegram. How long will it usually take for petition I-10 to be approved for LPR petitioner? I-130 for, that's neat how she edited it and it come edited on the screen. Okay. This question misses the point, okay? And that is an LPR petition is category F2A or F2B, and those petitions are not current in the visa bulletin. So how long it takes for the USCIS process is not that relevant. In the old days, it took less than 1 year for an I-130 petition. Now it's taking more than 1 year. But even if that petition, no matter when that petition is approved, the visa bulletin does not have F2A or F2B current in the visa bulletin. So like they're working on cases from 2020 and they're not really getting ahead or anything. So how long it takes for the petition approval is not relevant, because even after the petition's approved, the next barrier you have is the visa bulletin, and the visa bulletin is not current. They're working on cases from 2020, so you're looking at 3 to 5 years. If you're a green card holder that is petitioning for your spouse is not going to enter the U.S. for 3 to 5 years from now. Same with your minor child. Your child is not a minor and they're an unmarried adult. You're looking at 10 to 12 years, maybe 8 to 12 years to be optimistic, but probably 10 to 12. I hate to deliver that kind of news. Okay. Hamza says, how many plaintiffs are still in the good luck case? Hamza, there were 23,000 plaintiffs, 11,000 families to start. And in September, the end of August and September of 2021, 1,000 of those families, which was about 3,000 applicants, 3,000 plaintiffs, were issued visas, which left us 10,000 families and 20,000 plaintiffs. Okay, so there's about 20,000 plaintiffs. Now, I think your question is, how many of those plaintiffs are still interested in a good luck visa? Because some of those 20,000 people have died. I've got emails about that I don't know what to do with. Some of those plaintiffs have entered the U.S. on different kinds of visas and no longer need a diversity visa, married a U.S. citizen or something. Some have decided that the U.S. is an awful country and have decided to instead immigrate to Canada or a country that shows immigrants with more respect. And I can understand that. So the 20,000, it's fewer than, like, on September 30th, 2021, we knew that 20,000 people wanted visas of the 6,914 that were reserved. It's less than 20,000 now, but I'm not tracking it. I got confronted in a Telegram group over the weekend that we need to do some sort of census to keep track of that. And I'm like, no, it's not. If I keep track of that number of the number of, instead of 20,000 applicants, it's like 19,500, 19,600, 19,400 of people that actually want those visas. There's no benefit at all, but it would take an enormous amount of resources. Okay. It is difficult to communicate to 20,000 people that are speaking 12 different languages. And I need to limit that communication to communication that is helpful in advancing their visa journeys, their paths to the United States, not to just answer trivia questions. Granted, I'm curious too, but I just know that it was 20,000. It goes down probably 1 or 2 every day, not 1 or 2,000, 1 or 2 people or something. So who knows? Maybe now it's 19,500. That's a guess. Question from Telegram. How long? Oh, I've already answered that question. Sam asks, can an IR1 be transferred to another country if the beneficiary is there on a visitor visa, or if they have to be a resident of that country? The answer, Sam, is it depends. The first procedure in changing, it's actually, the transfer is not the right word. It's changing the interview location. The first, we have to be precise with language because transfer means something else. Okay, the procedure to do this, if you're waiting, if the case is at NVC, is to contact the NVC and ask the NVC, giving all evidence you have that the visa applicant has a tie or residence in this new country. And if they say no, then I would make the plea directly to the embassy. These pleas are much more effective when there's physical presence. For instance, if you are in Barbados and you ask U.S. Embassy Barbados if they will do an immigrant visa interview for you, and you tell them that you will be there 30 days, that's an important part of in the FAM code. It says you have to say you will be there 30 days so that they can process the application. It may take less or longer, but you have to say that. They're more likely to approve that. I know many embassies that have backlogs will not approve it. And then also who the visa applicant is, what their nationality is, plays a role. Because if you are a what's called a homeless applicant, meaning your country, your of chargeability does not have a U.S. embassy, then you are more portable. You're more capable of changing your interview location to different embassies. That's why sometimes it's easier for Iranians to change their interview locations. I've seen Iranians change their interview locations from Ankara to Abu Dhabi to Yerevan to Ankara to Abu Dhabi to Yerevan, just rotating. I do not recommend that. However, I do recommend Yerevan. Big fan of Yerevan. Okay. Okay. How many good luck plaintiffs in Morocco? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that happens to be on our website because if I remember correctly, Morocco was one of the countries where we had a lot of good luck plaintiffs, right? So I'll scroll down to the bottom and see if this picture's still here. This meme. Morocco. Most of the plaintiffs from Good Luck came from Nepal, but in Morocco, there were 1,295 families. Now, I know many of them were issued visas. Casablanca was an embassy that really turned it on in September of 2021, if I remember correctly. But I guess your question is probably of those 1,295, how many were issued visas and how many were not? And I don't know the answer to that question. Sorry. Does DB 2020 still have a chance? I'm among the plaintiffs, and we won. You are not. Okay. This is funny when people say that they're among their plaintiffs. So DB 2020 relief came in the Gomez order. Okay. The Gomez order originally had like 6 or 7 DB 2020 plaintiffs. They were all issued visas in 2020. So you're not a Gomez plaintiff. I think you are a Mohammed Fangjong or Kennedy, possibly Acre plaintiff. But the relief for DB 2020, the tool that Judge Mehta used was the Gomez class certification. So what gives you relief is not your status as a plaintiff for 2020, but your status as a Gomez class member. And you're right, we did win. However, the Biden administration appealed that victory, and we are waiting for the outcome of that appeal. Yes, we still have a chance. We don't have the outcome yet. Okay? You don't buy a lottery ticket and then throw it away before they announce who the winner is. Just be patient. Andrew says, hello, Curtis. I have a question for you. I wanted to know about DB 2020-2021. So what do you think about this DB 2020-2021? Andrew, the situation for DB 2020 selectees, where there was a class certification, class certified, is very different from the situation for DB 2021 selectees, who a minority still have a path forward, either because they were our good luck plaintiffs or they were waiting on interviews at embassies that can benefit from our Ray v. Biden lawsuit before Judge Chutkan. So your question is too general to really answer because you're asking about 2 different years. If you're just asking about when's the appeal going to happen, I don't know. When's the appeal outcome going to happen? I don't know. Any news about Gomez? Thank you for being specific, but Mohammed, the answer is we don't know when the 3-judge panel is going to return the outcome of the appeal. Okay, Sam says, can you please tell me DQ dates for the people who got the interview letter? just want to know what DQ Islamabad embassy is processing at the moment. Sam, I think you're under the misconception that I find many people waiting at that embassy are under, that the embassy processes cases in strict DQ order. I will tell you that when litigation is involved, that is not the rule. So I don't have it at my fingertip to share with you, but also I think that it is not as relevant as you think. It's just going to tell you that they skipped you. And lots of people are getting skipped. Okay. Oh, I need to talk about this. If you are an IR1 visa applicant waiting in Pakistan, you're getting skipped every day. And the reason you're getting skipped every day is because the F2A petitioner that naturalizes contacts the embassy and changes their visa category from F2A to IR1, and their DQ date is like 2020, 2019, or 2020, so they skip in front of you. So just one example there where DQ dates are not as magical as you think they are, okay? I want to do another lawsuit similar to Naveed before a different court, not in the District Court of Columbia, because if I did another lawsuit in the District Court of Columbia like Naveed, it would go with the same judge and we'd be in the same place. I would like to give another judge in another part of the country the opportunity to weigh in on that issue. So anyway, that's in my noggin up here. I'm thinking about that. Okay, I'm going to wrap up early today. Thank you for all the questions. Thank you, Hamza. I didn't click on that. I don't know who did. Okay. Remember, you can always reach out to me on Telegram, WhatsApp. Go to our website, click info. There's also on our website paralegals that translate into different languages. If you want to ask us questions in Arabic or Spanish or Farsi, probably some other languages there. I probably should know that off the top of my head. At one time, we had a lot more languages. Portuguese, French, German, Spanish, Mandarin, Kazakh. Yep. So we've got a few languages there. So anyway, if I don't talk to you, have a good week. I will see you next Wednesday for episode 30 of Let's Talk Immigration. Take care.